What's up, everyone? Welcome to the podcast, a show dedicated to talking about all the progress things in life, like music content creation and video games. I'm one of your co-hosts, JesseKazam.
And I'm some player.
Dude, I almost did it, and then I knew you were gonna do it.
That's an inside joke. You have to be here live.
Yeah, you got to be here live, like 1 to 3 minutes before we start the podcast to catch the pre-show.
Yeah, my cousin Matt will know.
Shout out Matt
and everybody here now. Yeah, shout out Matt, my homie.
What's up, man? How you doing?
Oh, dude, good. I've been on the emotional roller coaster that's Path of Exile.
Dude,
too.
I see you've been neck deep in Path of Exile, bro.
Yeah, man. It's
Hey,
it's
what do you think?
An emotional roller coaster.
Be honest.
Well, the check they sent me hasn't cleared yet.
Yeah, okay. So we can still trust your opinion?
Well, I'm not sure if I can be honest or not at this point.
Ah, I see.
Because the funds are pending.
Okay,
right?
Okay, fair.
If the check bounces, I'll be honest.
Yeah. Oh, man.
But the game is...
Okay, yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yep.
Mixed with sprinkles of, like, cancer.
Yes. So, which I feel like is become, remember when like hard games were the Dark Souls, like Tarkov was the Dark Souls of shooters. But now I feel like anytime any game mechanics are just like aids, it's like, oh, so this is the Tarkov of, of whatever. Is this the Tarkov of ARPGs?
So what this is people keep asking me, they're like, oh, it looks just like Diablo. Like, what's the difference? And what
from an outside perspective,
say,
I'm kind of with them on that. Yeah. Like,
I get it, right? It's the same perspective,
yeah.
Same kind of graphical style. It's got a red orb in the lower left,
yes.
a blue orb in the lower right.
Yes.
The same, like, yeah, I get it. And then there's a guy running around like shooting lightning at skeletons and they blow up.
Yeah, exactly.
But I will say the game plays more like Dark Souls than Diablo.
Okay.
So the biggest thing like with Diablo is like the bosses, they have like one or two attacks and they kind of go and like the boss design has always been pretty bad
in Diablo, right?
In Diablo. Okay. And it's generally, it generally isn't very skill based.
Okay.
It's usually just like run over and hit them, as much as you can, as fast as you can, and usually they die pretty quickly. Or unless you're doing like Uber Lilith back in the day, which was like everything one shots you, you insta die. And there's like no telegraphing of attacks. There's everything on the ground is lava, metaphorically or literally.
Yeah. Okay.
And you're like confined to a really small space or whatever. Well, the first few bosses that I played in like the early game. So there's 3 acts.
Okay.
In the campaign.
Okay.
And then you play 1, 2, 3, and then you basically play 1, 2, 3 again on like a harder difficulty.
Gotcha.
Now there's actually kind of like a narrative explanation for why it's a little bit of like a time loop kind of thing.
Well, that's cool.
But it's a kind of a temporary thing because it's early access. It's 0.1.
Yeah.
So they haven't finished.
Are there more supposed to be more acts to the campaign?
I think like 5 or 6 or something. I'm sure someone in chat will say. And then there's also going to be like another half dozen characters in the game.
Gotcha.
There's a bunch of skills in the game that are like coming soon. There's a lot like still missing.
Fair.
And the game seems like orders of magnitude bigger and more in depth than Diablo already.
Dang.
Like I just finished the campaign 15 minutes ago.
Okay.
And I just started like the end game. And the end game is like, oh, I have to learn an entirely new game. Like It's an entirely new system with like maps and all this. It's got some like roguelike kind of elements to it.
Sick.
So I have no idea what it's like. But yeah, so basically in Act 1, you're just like a dude. So the classes right now, it's like warrior, which is just, the big tanky guy with like you can have like a shield or not, or like a big hammer axe kind of thing. So it's warrior. There's a ranger, which is like archer kind of build. There's a mercenary, which I think like a common build is like almost like a grenade launcher, like cluster bomb,
like crossbow.
crossbow.
Yeah, I've seen people play with the like full auto crossbow, and I was like, oh shoot.
Yeah, dude, it's busted.
Okay.
There's like a, the mage kind of sorcerer character, the caster. There is a witch, which is like occult summoning, cursing, like minion build. And then I've been playing the monk. The monk is like
Das Monk.
It's kind of like you use a what the fuck is it called? Not a bow staff, a quarter staff.
Oh yeah, like a stick.
Is that what it's called?
They hit people with?
I don't know why I'm like.
I think a bow
blanking.
staff is. I think it's right. That's right. I think
it's called quarter staff in the game.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the guy with the staff.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm completely blanking. Yeah, quarter staff. So then it's basically like melee with a few abilities that have a little bit of range to them.
Okay.
But I was really impressed instantly with the like boss mechanics. Like the first mini boss I came to, they have 2 or 3 kind of attacks that they do, but it's like it gives you enough time to like they telegraph what they're gonna do. So they start to like, go back like this, and then it's like kaboom. If you're standing there, you die.
Yeah.
If you're standing there, you die in one shot.
Dang.
But you have like you see them coming, and you're like shit, dodge roll, like you get out.
Yeah.
And they really seem like they've honed in on like the timings and the sizes of the radius. Like I'm hitting. I'm in the middle of an animation. I see him start to do the thing, and it's like by the time the animation's done, I dodge roll, and I'm kaboom, and I'm like, oh, I just made it.
Yeah.
And every single boss that I've fought genuinely has had totally unique feel, design. Some with like fucking lasers. There's one that it's like a narrow corridor, and you're in like this big foundry, and it's like molten gold is like pouring down, and he's like shooting like waves almost, so you have to almost like dodge the waves.
Jeez.
They're and it's a beautiful game, but so the design of all the bosses is really good.
That's sick.
It allows you to telegraph, or they telegraph their attacks for the most part, and so that's what feels very Souls-like, in that like a lot of times you'll go up to a boss and you're like, all right, I'm dead.
Mm-hmm.
And you fight him, but then like you die, and then typically there's like a waypoint or like a checkpoint right before the arena. So you just spawn back at the arena, you walk in and you do it again.
And you die and go, oh, okay, when he does that, this happens. And then you are excited to hop back in because you're like, oh, I get you now, you son of a bitch. Like
Exactly. So the design of the bosses is I think fantastic. Although like jumping forward a little bit, where I'm at, I shouldn't jump forward. So Act 1 was really good. The game is slow.
Okay.
It's not like it plays more like a Souls-like, where it's like you're kind of running, dodge roll, like you're not fucking
because the dodge roll is also like a new to PoE, but also like that's not a thing in Diablo, is it?
It is.
Okay, but it's not as like
Diablo,
heavily relied upon.
Teleport. You have like teleport and like a dash, or there's a lot of other movement mechanics. The dodge roll isn't typically one that you like use very often.
Yeah.
In terms of like in a boss fight.
Gotcha.
Usually like there are things that get triggered when you roll. That those things almost matter more, like dropping grenades when you roll or stuff like that. Okay. So yeah, it really does feel Souls-like, where it's like you see the attack is coming, it's coming in this direction. You have to time your roll, because sometimes you see him about to swing, and it's like, wait, okay, boom, and then you hit it, and you roll, and there's like, I don't want to say like you have iframes in the same way, where it's like, but it feels kind of like that. I don't fully understand.
It feels rewarding to learn and hit, and like you said, with timings and radiuses of things, like it needs to feel like you can get away, you know what I mean, with a few rolls as opposed to having these giant things. So that makes sense. That's cool.
So Now the first boss I fought, felt impossible actually, but they lasted a while. I just couldn't get enough damage down. So the way it felt, right, was like they'd attack once, you'd be running, they'd attack twice, and then it's like go in, hit, fucking run away while they go, do the attack, and it's kind of like, you're chipping them down piece by piece.
Yeah.
It would take it felt like 5 minutes to kill a boss. And you only have like 8 to 10 charges in your like little life flask
Gotcha.
before you're out. And then after that, it's like, don't get hit because you can't heal. So which can be kind of a pain point at times. But that's like something I won't even really get into. I never played PoE 1, so as like a disclaimer to everybody, didn't play PoE 1, but I played, Diablo 1, a lot of Diablo 2, a lot of Diablo 4, not really much Diablo 3. So that's basically like most of the experience I had there. Now, when I got to Act 2, so as I was progressing, I started to learn a little bit about the itemization, a little bit about what's important in terms of like there's evasion and energy shield and armor and resistances and health, and it's like and block and it's like plus your ability to dodge out of the way. So there's just like so many things that it's like you see an item and you have to choose between +7 to evasion and +15 to armor, and it's like I don't know, bigger number.
And especially after your deep dive into some of the Diablo mechanics that were not what they appeared to be, I'm sure you're just like mad confused on what to pick up.
Yeah, so it took me a little bit, but like, so the Act 1 boss, basically everyone was saying like, you need to get as much like cold resistance as possible because it's like a lot of cold, and if you don't have a decent chunk of cold resistance, you're just going to get one shot by the mechanics, and a lot of them sometimes can be really quick enough that like you're not going to be able to dodge 5 of them. So you need to be able to survive 1 of them, heal, and then even survive a second one, and then heal if you because the potions take like 4 seconds.
Oh, dang.
So if you get down to here, you hit the potion, it's like,
dang.
So you can't really get hit
twice
many times in succession, right? So I started to get everything together, and a lot of people were struggling with the first boss. I managed to kill him in the second or third try.
Nice.
There were people that were saying they were stuck on him for a while. The monk was just doing well. Like my build was pretty good. I got to Act 2, and I like face rolled through the entire thing. Like my build just came together. And I got a couple of decent items, a couple of upgrades, and I like easy mode rolled through everything.
Just ripped
until there's like before the last boss fight, kind of one of those like you climb the dungeon castle sort of thing. Except it's on like a big moving platform.
Okay.
That's like being pulled by like slaves or something like that. And it's just a bunch of like square areas with like bridges, narrow bridges in between them.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens is you like run over, you see on the other side of the bridge are like 15 dudes. And then like 2 of them flip and like land behind you.
Okay.
And as a melee character, first of all, you get body blocked. Like all of the characters have like a hitbox.
Yep.
So if you like run forward on the bridge and like kill 1 or 2 guys, the dudes come in from behind, the dudes come in from the front, and you're just kind of like this, just getting like hit, and you can't. You're pressing buttons and nothing's fucking happening, and then all of a sudden you're dead.
Yep.
4.5 hours of spawn, run, hit a guy once, hit a guy. I'm dead. Oh, out of nowhere, just light switch, like boom. Now the game's impossible.
Yeah.
And it was like, what the fuck is going on? It was so infuriating.
Yeah.
Honestly, it felt like something was broken.
Yeah.
because I went from being totally comfortable.
Yep.
To then I walked from go over the threshold of this thing, and now there's a white enemy. So the enemies are like items where there's like a white, which is like normal. White is normal. Oh, clip that out of context. Blue is like magic. Yellow is rare.
Okay.
And then there are like the bosses, right? There'd be like a white mob, right?
Yep.
And I'd be hitting them, and it would be like, blip, 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 and there's 30 of them.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what's happening? Is something broken? Like, did I like unequip a fucking skill gem?
Yeah.
Did like, it was very, very frustrating and very painful. And that's when some of the other kind of shortcomings of the design on day one really like reared their ugly head, because now I'm not doing enough damage and I don't have enough defenses. How do I mitigate that?
Yeah.
I can go back like 9. Now, and keep in mind too, my character was 5 levels above the enemies.
Okay.
And I couldn't kill a normal one.
Yeah. Did you?
So I can go back to an earlier zone and I can just farm trash mobs. But the problem is that I could farm 1,000 mobs, and see in Diablo, I actually don't know if this is the case anymore. It's been so long, I actually forget.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure for the most part, if you're playing a rogue, 98% of the items that drop are rogue. They're daggers and crossbows and bows and swords. You're not going to get like a mage staff or like a summoning fucking, focus or whatever. But that's not the case in PoE. And then now also keep in mind that there's, anywhere from 1 to 6 affixes, right? Like plus lightning damage, whatever. And like 80% of them are useless. 20% of them are like what you want, right? You want like these 5 or 6 affixes. Usually you can get like 3, 2 or 3. And then you have, is it a good roll or not?
Yeah.
And then PoE also has tiers. So you can get like 1 to 7 or 2 to 8, or 3 to. So it's like the roll the tier, the roll on the stat, and then roll on the stats. And it has to be the item you need.
Yep.
So you can farm for 2 hours and one quarterstaff will drop.
Yeah.
And it's either a white, a blue, or a yellow. The yellow, you just in the first couple of acts, you just like don't. They're not non-existent. Okay.
Yeah.
The white and the blue, you can like turn a white into a blue. You can turn a blue into a yellow. You can add affixes. But all of that everything's fucking orbs. Okay. Everything's an orb.
Everything is
There's
orbs.
a million orbs. There's a million orbs, right? You take an orb and it turns a yellow to a white to a yellow, or a white to a blue, or it adds a thing to a blue, or it adds a thing to a yellow, and then there are 20 other orbs that like randomly change a thing or randomly roll another thing. So you have all of that, okay? And in all of that time, they dropped like one orb that could like add one line item to an item. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like let's say I need cold resistance because I keep dying to the cold guy, or I need more damage. So I just need the flat damage modifier on the staff. If I haven't upgraded my staff in like 2 or 3 hours, so you're always at the point where you're like, I don't want to invest in the one I have now, because the moment I do, I'm just going to fucking find one that's better base. And then I will have spent. So there's this weird push-pull where it's like, I don't have enough currency. Now, they address this in a later patch, which I'll talk about. But 4.5 hours, I was just struggling. Pain, suffering, it was impossible. And Dill Hero was like, yo, I've got a staff that might help you, because he's playing a different character.
Oh, can you trade?
Complete freedom to trade. Nothing is account bound.
Wow.
So he just gave me a staff, and then I just held down right click through the entire thing, and it was trivial.
And so,
like, that's bad.
Yeah, and so you're saying up until that point, you had no problems. There was just like a switch flipped. That area was, you couldn't do it. You spent 4 hours farming, couldn't find anything, and then he just gave you another staff, and you were like, oh, easy. That's crazy. How much better was that staff than yours? Was it like a crazy staff?
It was one that I haven't found anything as good as that.
Yeah.
And I was like level 20 at the time, and I'm like level fucking 60, almost 70.
Jeez.
And it's like, he might have traded for it or something. I don't know if he found it or if he rolled into it, right? Because you can like trade for something, you can build it from the ground up, or sometimes you just get a staff that's yellow and you identify it and it's got all the stats you want. And it's like,
and you're like, oh, shoot. Yeah.
Usually what happens is you get something that has a couple that you want, a couple that you don't want, and then you add a couple, and it's like, cross your fingers. Are they good? Yep. Sweet. I have an upgrade.
Yeah. Okay.
So that was really painful because I would just run in.
Yeah.
And I'm a melee character, right?
Yeah.
So it's like I have to run forward and hit things.
Yeah.
I can like move back, but then you just get swamped and surrounded.
Yeah.
So ultimately, like, my character is not really a glass cannon, but obviously I don't have a ton of defenses. My best defense is offense, because it's like every time I hit, I'm leeching life.
Yeah.
And when I kill, I'm leeching life. So usually it's like I get into a pack, my health goes down, and it's like I hit, kill.
Yeah.
Get into a pack of hit, kill, you know? So it's like that.
Yep.
And then Act 3, face roll through the entire thing.
Interesting. Wow.
Act 1, easy. Act 2, again, easy. Now, at this point, they released a patch, and what the patch did was it made it so that when you dodge roll, your character's size went from 1 to 0.
Okay.
So now, if you were fully surrounded and you dodge rolled, you would just roll in place and not go anywhere. Now, if there is any space between two enemies, your character will fit.
Interesting.
You don't phase through, which is something that a lot of games do, and like basically a thing where you can phase through the enemies. They have built-in mechanics for that, which is really nice, because then you getting blocked in. It's like Tarkov when you're trying to like jump over a can and you have no stamina and you're just like stuck on like the curb. It's like that. And there's nothing worse than that, because it's like seeing a train coming at you in slow motion and you just can't do anything. You're like, I'm dead. Why can't I click? Oh my God, I'm dead. Fuck. Like,
dude, that happened to me today in Delta Force. There's a place where I was trying to mantle up. There's jumping and vaulting, and like my teammates are in a fight, and every time I would go to vault, I would hit something and it would bounce me back a foot. And I was just like, my team is slowly dying and there's no other way to get around. It's going to take me 10 minutes. And I'm just sitting there like bouncing, freaking out. And we lost the fight. And it was that same feeling. I was like, what is happening? It's pain.
Yeah. So the dodge roll thing, I don't know if it's in yet or not, but so that was one of the major changes that I'm like, thank Christ.
Yeah.
I think they also tuned down the difficulty a little bit, or they released like a list of changes. They weren't exactly patch notes. Some of them they implemented, some of them are coming. I'm not really sure. But anyway, it included a bunch of things like that. And one of them was they increased the drop rates of the currency items and the rares.
Nice.
And so now it's like night and day. Now I can go through the cycle of it really does feel good, and that there's just enough. I usually have like 4 or 5 like exalted orbs, which is like what adds line items to a rare.
Yeah.
And I, 90% of the time I kind of just brick the item. Like, it's just like, 1 to 3 thorns damage and +10 to light radius. It's like, okay, well, fucking this item's useless now.
Yeah.
Like, throw it in the garbage bin. But every now and then I've rolled a couple good ones and it feels good. So the fact that within like fucking 48 hours, they made changes that were changes that could have swung too far in one direction. That would have been totally capitulating to like uber casual whiners, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is that like everyone was complaining. Like even the hardcore PoE veterans were like, this area is way too hard. There's not enough drops.
Yeah.
Like all this stuff. So, which I felt really good about, because I was kind of like a small contingent of chat was kind of gaslighting me, being like, bro, all you got to do is go back and like farm and get the item.
Yeah.
And it's like, I can go play for 2 hours in a boring zone and I'm very likely just not going to get an upgrade. So
I can imagine it's an insane balance to find, because like if your game just has 7 items and then different versions of those items that go up, then okay, well, because there's such a limited amount of items, you need to grind for a really long time to find the item. But if the game has a quintillion items and you need 3, the drop rates have to be such that you can find the thing, you know what I mean? So it's like, and because these games often have both, where there's like, there are a few items that you need and then rarities of those, but then there's also so many different items, and player trade isn't the thing. Like I can understand how on launch they would want the dial turns to a little bit too rare than too much, because if you flood the economy with items and everyone can just buy whatever, then the value plummets. So I can only imagine how like insane that is to balance. But it is kind of crazy to see that they're already making changes. So that's sick. Before we move on, before we move on, I do want to hear more about PoE 2, because I've heard literally nothing but phenomenal things about it. I do want to take a quick second and thank the first sponsor for this episode, and that is Factor. The days are getting shorter, but your to-do list isn't. Factor is an all-in-one ready-to-eat meal delivery service. You can get a bunch of meals delivered right to your door. All you got to do is heat them up, and they are delicious. Customization is key here. There's up to 6 different menu preferences you can make. So like counting calories, maximize protein, avoid meat, just well balanced. They're chef prepared meals, dietitian approved. You get like a bajillion. It's over 35 meals every week you can pick from. We've worked with Factor for a long time. I've used Factor many different times. And it really, for a guy that just sits at my desk all day and doesn't want to get up and spend, 38 minutes on stream, preparing food, they really are super clutch.
Yeah, no, I mean, the convenience, the convenience to quality to price like ratio.
Is
just one of those things that's right in like the sweet spot for these, this kind of service.
Yep.
The food really is fresh, quality. I had was it the chicken Alfredo pasta the other day. Fantastic.
Yep.
It's not like a lot of times when you get something like that is kind of like ready to eat.
Yes.
The pasta can be like like chewy and kind of, you can tell it's been frozen for like a million years. Everything is always fresh. It's always good. It's always quality. There's never questionable anything. It really is just a fantastic, like, nice, consistent staple backbone that I can have, where it's like, I know I'm getting at least this many good, healthy meals every week.
Exactly. So. And even it's nice to have as like backups for stuff. If it's like, oh, I thought I was going to do this schedule changed, I can just heat this up and have something that's like balanced and healthy. And like you said, not, been in the back of a semi truck for a bajillion years. So it's nice. They have over 60 additional convenience like add-ons. They have sent us their like wellness shots before, where they have a bunch of different flavors of those. They've sent us the smoothies before. Those are delicious. All sorts of stuff. So it really is awesome, man. It's nice. Their menus rotate, so they'll bring in a lot of like seasonal items. So you always get something new. You always have the freedom to choose what you want, and it's pretty pog. So you can head to factormeals.com/50pogcast and use code 50pogcast to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That is code 50pogcast at factormeals.com/50pogcast to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping while your subscription is active. Thank you so much to Factor for sponsoring this episode. Delicioso. Okay, but you made it through
I watched,
Act 1, 2, and 3.
And I just made it through the campaign again. Like I said, it was an emotional roller coaster because what it was like easy, fucking impossible.
Yeah.
And then it's like a lot of things are just impossible. So one of the first things that was like really, really hard after Act 2 was there's this whole like ascendancy thing where it's almost kind of like a subclass. Every class has like kind of a couple different sort of paths you can go to. Now, in order to do that, there are these like ascendancy trials, and one of them, the first one's, it's kind of weird and hard to explain. But the second one, I thought it was simultaneously really, really cool and complete cancer. The way it works is, you start off and there's basically 4 like levels.
Okay.
Each level at the beginning, it gives you 3 choices between like, do you want like ball cancer, colon cancer, throat cancer, right? It's like or it's like, I'll pinch you on your elbow.
Okay.
I'll cut out your eyeballs with a razor blade.
Okay.
Or, insert other terrible thing you don't want here. And sometimes, usually like a big debuff or some challenge or whatever.
Yeah.
And then once you do that, you go to the second level and you choose another, and both of them apply, so they stack. Then you go to a third one and they stack. Then the fourth one is a boss, and all of that stacks. Sometimes it's just like there's one where this like weird blood clot like cyst thing like grows in the sky and then like shakes and drops down and does like some amount of physical damage to you.
Okay.
And it's like, I'll choose that every time because it's just like slow and easy to dodge.
Yeah.
Then there are some that's like monsters, every hit is a critical hit. And it's like the first one, you kill all the monsters, there's like 200 monsters. And it's like, no, I never once chose that.
Yeah.
So you just kind of, there's massive RNG because there's, like 20 possible things you can choose from. And sometimes it's like you get the blood clot and then like a little bit harder version of the blood clot and then a little bit harder version of the blood clot. And then one that's like, you do less projectile speed and like, I don't have projectiles. So it's like, sweet, right? Like it's not a big deal. But then what ended up happening with me, you get to the end and there's 3 different bosses. It's just randomly chosen. The first one that I fought, I can't even describe it to you because I was there for about 0.2 seconds, went up to hit, insta-died, and now I have to just go back to the beginning. Like I went through the 4 cancer, and I do that, and what would happen for hours and hours and hours, right? You do 1, 2, you die. You do 1, you die. You do 1, 2, 3, you die. You do 1, 2, 3, 4, get to the boss. All right, I'm going to learn the pattern. You die. You do 1, you die. You do 2, you die. You do 1, 2, 3.
Every time you restart, it re-rolls the 20
it's
things.
Just a different.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. So it's just fucking different every time. And for every 100 attempts, I'll make it to the boss 5 times and then die almost instantly to the boss. So I don't ever get to learn. And there's 3 bosses. So it's like each of them has 3 or 4 attacks and patterns and sometimes multiple phases. You get halfway through it and then they change into, whatever. Yep. And now the one that everyone was like, oh, you're so lucky you got this one. It's like, it's this really awkward, there's like these multiple stage like steps, almost like picture like a Mayan like pyramid of like, with like stairs up the side. And it's like this, I don't know, like kind of, I think it was like a chimera sort of flying thing. And what happens is it like lands, does like a big attack that like if you're anywhere near it, it's going to do like 90 to 100% of your health. Okay. So it's like it lands just like a poof, and then it's like, all right, I'm going to like cast my thing to buff my thing to go in and hit. Oh, he started flying away. And then he flies up to like the second level. So then you run up the stairs and the character, like I said, the characters are slow. Yeah. So you're just like, now I want to say half of the debuffs are like there's a giant circle of like lightning that if you stand in here, you're gonna get like lightning stormed. And it's like between me and the stairs is just like 2 lightning storm things. And it's like, so I'm just in the middle of a boss fight. It's like, and I'm like, do I just like wait? Can I other stairs? And I can hear like on the second level, and I just can't get there. And then finally I run through, I tank all the damage. And by the way, you can't refill your health or mana flasks in between any of the things. So there are times where you use them all in the first phase. So you have no health potions for the next. Now you do get to refill it before the boss fight.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'll be 5 seconds into the boss fight and I'm just spamming like so I don't die and I'm out of health.
Yeah.
So I like run through the thing, use up fucking half of my health potions just to get up the stairs. I go to hit him once, I swing once, I hit him. And it's like, and then he flies down to the bottom. And it's like, oh my God. Like, I'll take the thing that one-shots me.
Yeah.
So it was just, and I was, when you open up the map, it'll tell you what level the enemies are, like in the zone. And I was like 5 levels above the enemies.
Dang.
And it was like, I just ended up saying, I'll come back later.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to do it. So you just don't get like the whole subclass thing until 2 or 3 hours later when I was like 15 levels above.
Yeah.
And then I just held down fucking mouse 2.
Yep.
Beat everything. It was totally trivial. And it was just like, it just didn't feel. Now, I guess apparently one of the patches is they made, I think, that easier somehow.
Interesting.
So they balanced that. Now, I tried on the second, act 1, 2, 3, 1, and then there's the cruel mode, they call it.
Gotcha.
I tried it again. Now, there's like a currency. You need like basically like a ticket.
Gotcha.
To start. The first time through, they give you the sort of ticket, and you don't lose it when you die.
Oh, okay.
You can actually go back there and do the like roguelike. There's like 10 different levels.
That's cool. Yeah.
You only need 4 to get the first thing. The second time through, they don't save it. So like I was like 4 or 5 levels above. I was feeling really good about my character. I'm like, all right, fuck it. I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna do it. And I died on like the first thing. And it's like, now I need to. I
go get
play
another
for 2 or 3 hours before that item just drops. It has to drop before you can. So it's just a rare drop. So that's kind of a little bit annoying.
Yeah.
So yeah, it basically, the game has been vacillating between feels like it's impossible to I feel like a god.
Yeah.
And when I feel like a god, I feel like a god. I can like, there's a big pack of enemies that I'm just like hitting them all, fucking turning fucking corpses into like energy charges, calling down lightning. Like it's just epic. I feel really good. And then all of a sudden, boom, I get to this new zone and I just can't.
Yeah.
Like, so what I was doing right before I finished the like last zone. So an example is these guys cast, if anybody ever played Diablo 2, something called Frozen Orb. So it's like, imagine just like a big, ice kind of ball coming at you that's spinning. And as it's spinning, it's almost giving off like in a galaxy shape.
Okay.
Like small little spikes of ice.
Gotcha.
As it's going. So it's going, it's spinning, and there's like dozens and dozens of these things. Now each one of those did 60% damage to me. And there were 9 guys in a small corridor going. So I'm a melee character. And it's like
GG's.
So for like 3 hours today in this zone, I have a skill that kind of like scrapes my thing along the ground, and it sort of does like a lightning thing along the ground at like a range, 15, 20 meters or whatever. So I was playing like a sorceress today. Basically, I was just like ranged. 10 guys come out, I just back up, range. And the moment I'm like, okay, I'm a melee character. Oh, I'm dead.
Yeah.
I hit one of them and I just die. And there's some other issues I won't get into details, but there have been times where it's like I go to attack and like my character just doesn't do anything.
I wonder.
I'm not stunned. There's no debuffs. It feels like my mouse died.
I wonder, like, how do you think that part of it is just balancing the different classes, not necessarily the classes and the items and the drop rates, but like, I wonder if, a rogue had 3 other areas where they felt that wall, but the 3 you felt it, you were like, oh, I was cruising, because it was like these, like you said, a lot of the time it came down to the fact where, like, I'm a melee character, which is fine that not every enemy in the game is easy to kill for a melee character, but it feels like when they're not, they're impossible. And it's like, I wonder if ranged characters, all those enemies were mad easy, but they had their own moments where it was like, dude, it's literally impossible. I can't get away from this thing, or whatever. Like, do you think it's kind of just that, balancing the classes, not necessarily gear, but how encounters may differ for different classes? Like, do you think you kind of just got shafted, or?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's complicated because you want there to be a push and pull between, of course, like, casters are going to be better in this area, whereas melee characters are going to be good and better in this area. Yeah. I don't know what the solution is. I'm definitely not like a PoE or an ARPG like pro.
Yeah.
All I can say is, like, this feels bad.
Yeah. And from a high level view, it feels like if the only 2 things you feel are like nothing is a threat to me, or I am completely incapable of progressing at all, it feels like you might want both of those things in a little bit, and most of the game is in the middle, where it's like you're struggling to make it through, but you can, and because of that, it's rewarding. And so I can see how it's like an arbitrary wall where you just like go through this door and suddenly death, as opposed to, when 3 seconds ago I was untouchable. It's like you kind of want.
Yeah. I want to be like, the way that the good boss fights feel, it's like skill based, where it's like, I have good reaction time and good decision making in terms of when to attack, when to move. My reaction time and about like, there's like lasers and waves of fire and things coming down from the top and hammers, and it's like I can put myself exactly where I need to be, right? But when there's 19 mobs in kind of every direction, all casting shit, while you're casting things, everything is electrified and you're shocking everything. But then also the enemies they're empowered and they're like enchanted with electricity, they look exactly like the ones that I'm electrocuting. So I can't tell like who's who. The shit on the ground, it suffers a little bit from what Diablo had, which is like there's too much going on. And not in like the good ARPG way, but like, I don't know. I think there could be some things they can do to make things clearer, because sometimes it's just like everything is going fine and then I just died, and it's like, to who, where, why?
And kill cams and PoE.
Well, I have to clip everything, and it's I was trying to cast this thing through this like giant statue, and the statue is blocking my attacks, but not this guy's fireballs. So like I wasn't looking, I wasn't paying attention, because I felt almost like I was safe over here. So it's like little things like that. Or, like a guy off screen does a thing where they like cast the thing, and then like 10 seconds later, a big like meteor comes down, right?
Yeah.
And that's easy to do when they're on screen and you see them go whoosh. You're like, a meteor's coming down in 10 seconds, I can react.
Yeah.
If they're like off screen or you don't see, then it's like you're fighting, oh, suddenly meteor.
Yeah.
And you got one-shotted, and it's like, it doesn't feel like I could do anything.
Yeah. Fair.
So there are a few things like that. Now, do you know Kriparian? I forget exactly how to pronounce it. He's like WoW, Hearthstone, Diablo, big streamer, been around forever, ton of content. He came out with a video yesterday, I think, where he talked about a lot of these things about like the one-shot mechanics.
Okay.
There's like too many one-shot mechanics.
Yeah.
Talked about some of the things about getting body blocked, about some of the loot stuff. Like, he had a lot of really good takes. I would suggest people watch his video. I agreed with most of the things he was saying. And it's good that like a veteran was saying,
I was
things.
also feeling that.
Because it's easy for, and I have to question myself too, right? Because it's like, am I just bad
Yeah.
Or, you know, what, and I'm sure people in the comments are
Of
going to
course,
say, you
of
know,
course.
skill issue.
Why are you
and like,
playing a
okay,
monk?
fine, you know, whatever. But, you know, when you see me fighting some of the bosses that are challenging, like, I feel like I'm a gamer, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm fucking dodging out of the way. I'm,
Yeah.
you know, but now the way the game feels is it's either impossible
Yeah.
or so it's impossible to play your character.
Yeah.
The alternative is you can go towards the alleyway. The guys start to come, you fall back and you kite out one at a time with ranged attacks. And it's like, I could get through this zone. It would take me 5 hours.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be hard. It would just be boring.
Yeah.
Like, let me have the power fantasy. Let me go in and hit the guys. And like, if it takes 3 hits to kill me, not 1,
Yeah.
it's suddenly now it's like I still have to fucking pay attention to where I am, pay attention to the missiles. I have to be able to dodge, but there's just too many one-shot things. And
Yeah.
a lot of it comes down to like, do you have enough of this, you know, like cold resistance versus lightning resistance? So there's some balancing around that I need to get used to, because now that I know how to do some of the itemization stuff, now it's like, okay, I know I have like a cold resist amulet that I can go back. So when I'm getting frozen, you know, I can at least go and kind of swap out a few things. And feels good. But so it's either that or now every boss I fight. So here's the thing. The bosses are 1,000 times easier than a normal magic enemy. And there's 17 fucking magic enemies on screen at any given time. I go up to the bosses and I like slam down. There's like this big bell. So there's this big bell that you put down, and when you hit the bell, it like reverberates and like amplifies the damage, like splash damage.
Yeah.
And it also will do like elemental damage. So if you're like hitting it with like lightning, it like lightning. So I'll like cast like a buff, which basically I would describe my character as Darth Maul plus Emperor Palpatine. It's just lightning and with like a staff that has 2 fucking lasers on the end. And like when I like swing the staff, it like hits people, but then also sends out like a wave of lightning.
Yeah.
So I'll go through and I'll do that to a boss, and you'll see the health bar go, and they die.
Yeah.
The bosses are easier. So now it's like the good part also feels bad, because the best part of the game were when the boss fights were like, there were multiple phases and I didn't get 1 shot, but I could dodge out of the way. I would get 2 or 3 shot, but I'm good enough to not get 3 shot.
Yeah.
And when I can kind of roll through the trash mobs and it's like roll through until there's like an elite enemy, then it's like, okay, now I got to step back and be a little bit smart. But what happens is it's like, you get stuck on walls, you die to some magic mobs over and over and over and over again, to some shit you don't see when you get frozen or, you know, whatever. And then the bosses are like, I'm in and out in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Like I killed them before the second phase.
Dang.
So it's a weird kind of balance.
That is interesting. It's cool that they're already like addressing it. And that's, I feel like, huge in your position to have veterans like PoE guys express a lot of those same concerns, because I do feel like they will probably at least help. It'll never go away. You know, the guys that are like, skill issue, man, just play a different, why are you playing monk? But when the big like PoE and ARPG guys are like, hey, these are, I feel like the temperature of the community goes, these things, we should change these things a little bit more, which just helps, you know what I mean? So yeah, that's cool. And it's early access, right? It's like you pay $30 for early access. So like they can hopefully iron a lot of this out and then launch, which as I understand it,
it's going to be free to play.
Yeah, $30 early access, but roughly 6 months free to play full launch, which is nice for them to like, because most likely the people playing right now are the people that are like uber excited to hop in. They have experience with ARPGs or PoE. And then the free to play people can come in once a lot of this stuff is ironed out and the experience is probably a little bit more smooth. So that's cool.
Yeah, so what I want is I want it to be, I love that it's challenging. Like I said, the coolest part was that it felt Souls. It was like a more approachable Souls-like game.
Yeah.
But far more challenging than Diablo. Like
Yeah.
to the point where on day 1 or 2, like I would not have recommended like a casual dad gamer. You're not gonna have fun
Yeah.
playing this. Like I would recommend Diablo if you just want to like watch fucking Conan O'Brien on one screen while you're
Yeah.
So I love that it's challenging. I want it to be in my control, and when when you don't have a chance to react to things, and you don't have the drops to be able to change your build or your gear in a way to react to things, then you just don't have a choice other than get fucked, right?
Yeah. And like you said, the weirdness,
and they're moving in that direction.
Yeah. Of like the mobs almost being harder than the bosses. You know what I mean? Like it's like, it's like somebody could come in your chat and really passively interpret as like, oh, if you're like fighting trash mobs and you're like, this needs to be easier. There's like, oh, you want the game to be easy, but it's like, imagine if Elden Ring, like a random world boss you run up to just stomps you, and then Malenia was like easy. It was just like everybody 2-shot her, and she's like the post on the poster of Elden Ring, and we all got to this boss and just 2-shot her. Like that would just be weird. It's like the power dynamic needs to sit. And like I said, I'm interested to see if it's how much of it is your build, because once again, the same thing, I can only imagine it is a quite literal nightmare to balance not what we were just talking about, which is like balancing gear and drop rates for all the different items in the game, but from a game design perspective, balancing encounters and boss mechanics and mob mechanics to be, ideally relatively equally challenging through the course of Act 1, 2, and 3 for a melee character, for a ranged character, for a mage, for a warrior. Like, that seems madness. So I'm sure there's some part of that in there too.
And have you seen the passive skill tree?
Dude, yes. I feel like I saw a picture from, I think it was like a tweet of some like news report of it. It's like 4 quadrillion.
Oh, wait, I don't think that's... it's not gonna work. Fuck it. Yeah, there's like fucking 1,500 things or something. Now, it's not a skill tree. It's most of them are like passive buffs, +5 to this.
It's almost like all of the RPG mechanics on one map. Normally you would go into like speed and you would, buff that, or like this weapon and you would buff that, but it's like everything on one map.
And the cool part about it too is they kind of do the thing that sort of, I don't know if Skyrim did this or if this was one of the mods for Skyrim, but like generally you start off in like the center and you go off in like one direction, and it's like, down here is like all the bow stuff, up here is all the axe stuff, over here is all like the kind of monk related things, and all of the like constellations of passive skills or passive buffs, they are laid out in a way that is like representative of the thing. So there's one that like looks like a fucking dagger. These like 15 little dots, they all are shaped like a dagger, and those are all like dagger related,
Gotcha,
skills.
Yeah.
So it's like really cool in that you can kind of like zoom out and sort of look around and be like, oh, that looks like a bow staff. Oh, that is a bow staff. Okay, those are all staff related things. Or so it's one of those things that looks super overwhelming, but when you actually like are in game and can hover over and see,
it does look overwhelming.
Like the way that you need to approach it if you're going to play and it's overwhelming is just like you choose one at a time. So you choose one, and then it's like A or B. Choose A.
Yeah.
A, B, or C. It's like at any point you're really not choosing a million things. You're just choosing one thing at a time.
That is why it feels overwhelming, because it feels like I should be working towards a thing. So I have to read them all to decide where I want to go, to decide how to get there. But you're saying more just like kind of just pick a direction and go with what you feel. Yeah.
Yeah. So overall, like I said, I'm really happy with the game. I've heard nothing but good things about GGG. It was funny. The last thing I'll say is someone came in maybe like an hour ago, and they're like, "Oh shit, I came in right at the right time. I've been wanting to watch PoE, and I like came in right at a boss fight. Like I'm so excited." And like 3 seconds later, literally 3 seconds later, the fight was over, and they were like, "Oh." And it's like that doesn't make the game look good.
Yeah,
it makes it look like Diablo, right?
Yeah.
I want to struggle, but I don't want to feel helpless.
Yeah.
And it's funny because there are people, like one of my mods is like a PoE guy that's been playing forever. He's a PoE gamer, right? He was like, now, granted, it was like day 1 or day 2 before a bunch of buffs and nerfs and tweaks and whatever. And he was playing a different class, and there's so much that we didn't know.
Yeah.
Right. And then like the whole time, there were multiple bosses where he's like, this was really challenging. This was super challenging. I've been stuck on this. I've been stuck on that. And it's like, and then I would just beat him in the first try. And it was like, I think that was because he was playing a caster. Or whatever. Or, I got there a few levels later than he did or whatever. Right.
Yeah.
So it's crazy how people can have different experiences. And I would argue that both of us probably have, like, if you look at what I chose for gear and what I chose for skills, the synergies and the thought process, it's not like, honestly, it's not far from like the meta builds that I'm seeing.
Gotcha.
But I would say it's probably better than 95% of the average player.
Yeah. Who's just picking up stuff as they go.
Yeah. So unless you follow a build guide.
Yeah.
My thing is like really, really good. And a lot of people were like, oh, you're struggling. Maybe you need to tweak this. Maybe you need to tweak that. And it's like, if the stuff I have now. And like if I'm decently skilled.
Yeah.
And the gear and the things I have, if they're not working and I'm 5 levels above the enemies. Like something's wrong.
Yeah.
I'm like, I feel like something's broken and I couldn't really pinpoint it.
Yeah.
Like what was broke. And it just turns out like, oh, my weapon needed to have like these 2 affixes on it, and then suddenly like it was trivial.
Yeah.
And it's like, nah, that feels, something feels a little funky there. So
I feel you. That's cool though, man. That is that's sick. That's cool. Yeah, I've seen a lot of good things. A lot of people in chat asking lots of questions, and this is very much like the Elden Ring thing, where it's like, dude, it's not my vibe, but hell yeah, love hearing that people are enjoying it. This feels like, I don't know much about ARPGs, but yeah, PoE feels like I wouldn't say the underdog because they're really established, but like I don't know, I guess maybe Diablo just feels so Blizzard now, and Blizzard is so synonymous with almost like EA, right? Like microtransactions and high, sticker cost and like this evil corporation, and PoE is free to play. And I've seen a few videos from people like Josh Strife Hayes who are saying like they just put so many mechanics and so much content. Like it feels like I heard someone say this almost feels like PoE 3, where like compared to PoE 1, it's like almost that big of a step in terms of like game design. So just hearing a lot of good things, and we love it. We love when good games get released, and we love even more when there's good dev teams that are like actively working on making those good games better.
And they for sure seem like they know what they're doing. They're receptive. They're like good and cautious with responding to feedback. They haven't like taken anything like way too far, or all of the changes have been like big W's. The way that I look at it is like PoE is it's infinitely better from a pure ARPG quality design, good gameplay, challenging, like it's just superior in basically every way to Diablo.
Dang.
Like it makes Diablo look bad.
Dang.
So I the way I described it earlier, which I think would get people kind of pumped, is it really is Diablo 2 meets Dark Souls, which is like a lot of people's wet dream, because we wanted Diablo 3 and Diablo 4 to be Diablo 2.0, right?
Yep. That is really interesting, because Diablo 2 seems to be the fever dream Diablo, the one that everybody remembers, the one that everybody wants every Diablo to be, even though they don't really. So that's super interesting.
Now, I will say, I can say this before we transition, although my gaming rig just blue screen.
I was about to say, you look kind of darker.
Yeah, no, my shit just blue screen. I've been doing that a little bit more lately. So the whole time while I was playing PoE today, everybody was pretty much talking about GGG, which is grinding gear games, the people who made
PoE.
They were talking about GGG and and just how they just have such a solid reputation.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, they are like the heroes, and Blizzard are the villains.
See, okay,
now.
that's what it feels like from the outside. Yeah.
And somebody in chat, it's so funny because this conversation was coming on, and then one of my like regulars, John, he came in and said, "Oh fuck, at Veritas, BSG pushed the recoil changes from the Halloween teaser to ETS right before the podcast."
Yeah.
Keck W. And then the next message in chat was like a response to an ongoing conversation that says they've built a reputation for 10 plus years. They listen to the community and constantly improve their games. They definitely do it right. And it was like, I tweeted that and I said, while most of my chat was talking about GGG and Path of Exile, I get a little update about EFT. Talk about whiplash reading these few, because it's like,
my God.
Like, oh, they did the absolute worst wrong thing that we didn't want them to do. And all of a sudden it was like, yeah, I'm reading, they've built a reputation for 10 plus years. And I think it's going to be like for, dropping the ball and making all these bad decisions and fixing things. And then I kept reading. I'm like, oh, that's about GGG, not BSG.
Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. Well, we can talk about that a little bit. Before we do, though, I do want to take a quick second and thank the second sponsor for this episode, and that is MeUndies, your go-to brand for unbelievably comfortable clothes, an underwear company that now does so much more than just undies. What do we got today?
It's like
the little trees,
some tree cactus sort of things going.
Boy, the audio listeners always miss out when we do the MeUndies things, where you get to see a little snippet of these.
Veritas's panty drawer.
But MeUndies, a brand, you know them, you love them for their underwear. Literally the most comfortable underwear I've ever worn in my entire life. It changed. I was just like a dollar store underwear guy my whole life. I just didn't even know the world I was missing. And MeUndies, now that the holidays are upon us and it's a little colder out, MeUndies does so much more than that. They got joggers, they got long sleeve shirts, they got pullover hoodies, they got onesies, they got anything you need. And they are, once again, just like unbelievably comfortable. Like, I don't know what they're putting in there, but it is extremely comfortable.
Yeah, and it's even more comfortable with the ball caddy. Dude, I'm addicted to the ball caddy now. Ever since I've been doing quite a bit of hiking.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, the little in there, just it's fantastic. And I really like the long boxer briefs.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm a fan. I can't say enough. I've been wearing them for, I don't know, 7 or 8 years now.
Yep.
There's nothing that compares in terms of quality, in terms of comfort, in terms of design, in terms of the options available.
Yep.
And that's only the underwear, there between like the joggers and all the other stuff. It's really fantastic. And like undershirt t-shirts, they have really nice soft t-shirts. And
dude, I love cold season because I love a good pair of like lounge pants or joggers, like to wear around the house. They're just so comfy because it's like wearing a blanket all the time, and when it's cold enough to do it, it feels good. And theirs are super nice, super soft. So style for everybody. They got tons of different colors, prints, sizes, stuff like that. Unmatched comfort, responsibly sourced, sustainably sourced materials, and work with partners that care for their workers. And problem-free philosophy. Not happy with your first pair of MeUndies? It's on MeUndies. You can knock out all of your holiday gift-giving needs today with MeUndies. To get exclusive holiday deals and savings all month long, go to MeUndies.com/Pogcast and enter promo code Pogcast. That is MeUndies.com/Pogcast. Use code Pogcast. MeUndies, comfort from the outside in. Bam. So yeah, literally I haven't touched Tarkov in like a week. And so the only news is, once again, I felt like Veritas because I got news about Tarkov from chat. I'm normally getting the news,
You're normally
minute one.
The news.
Exactly. But yeah, dude. And so I don't know much. All I know is that, I can pull up the tweet. They tweeted, we're continuing with our series of ETS tests. The main task of this rework recoil rework is to create more realistic and comfortable recoil mechanics with maximum configuration flexibility. This will allow to make balance changes based on analytics and feedback from players. We invite everybody who's in the ETS to do it. Players who are involved in testing, your participation and feedback allows us to fix bugs. So it's like so weird because I don't know what they're doing. They have such a communication problem because like if we didn't see anything about the recoil and we just read that, it would be like, interesting. I mean, I don't know. Actually, we would still hate it, but it's just interesting. Their verbiage is like maximum configuration flexibility. Like me, that actually does tickle a part of my brain because I have always hated, we've talked about it a million times, I hate that there's like one meta attachment in each caliber, like one meta suppressor, one meta foregrip, one meta this. We've talked way back in the day when we were both playing Tarkov years ago, we were talking about how there's 800 attachments in the game, 22 of them are viable. And it's like, man, I remember us talking about they should flatten them all to just like A, B, or C tier. You use 100 attachments early game, you use 200 attachments mid game, and you use 200 attachments late game, and you can mix and match them, and they're all fun. So reading that, I was like, oh, okay. And then saying this will allow us to make balance changes based on analytics and feedbacks. That also makes me think same thing. It's like, oh, I wonder if they're kind of flattening a lot of the values because then it makes it easier to make balance changes to a bunch of attachments at once. Cool.
Yeah.
So like if I had just read it, I would be like, I don't want you to mess with the recoil, but interesting. But they have such a weird communication problem because the video they showed was like god awful. It was so weird and it looked like
wasn't that what they showed in Halloween?
Yes.
Was it not this?
It literally just looked like the gun was like shaking violently all over the place. It felt like the player wasn't in control of anything and it was just like a machine doing its thing. So it's so weird to like what I was talking to him about this earlier and it was like nothing pleases everybody, right? Like no change they've ever made pleases everybody. But this has got to be in the top 3 most well-received changes they've ever done in 7 years was the recoil rework that happened like a year ago. I've had virtually 0 complaints about recoil being too much and virtually 0 complaints about X gun being objectively just the best in the game.
Yeah, this is a laser beam.
They struck a crazy balance where like that was normally, it was either one way or the other, where the recoil was just ass across the board, or it was like these two guns are meta and nothing else is usable. The fact that they would go in at all and spend dev time fucking it up is crazy to me. I don't get it. Now, once again, and even if they are cooking here, if they're cooking, why did they show us that horrendous video? So it's like I'm all over the place emotionally with it because it's like they show us a video and it's just a horrendous. And everyone in the community immediately was like, this is horrendous. So I don't know. Apparently, I don't know this, but apparently they've like assured people that they have not changed the horizontal or vertical recoil values. They're just adjusting the camera recoil, which to me is like, I can't think of a funny analogy. It's just like we didn't slap you in the face with our right hand. I promise. We slapped you with our left. It's just like two sides of the same coin.
We took your face and we slapped it into our
hand. Yeah, exactly. It's like two sides of the same coin. It's like the numbers are the same, but your screen is going to shake. It's like that doesn't make it easier to hit targets. Like, so
and wait, you said a year ago, my video about the recoil was 2 years ago. It was January of 23.
Damn.
So it's 1 year and 11 months ago because they made the change
pretty soon after. Yeah.
Like within a month of that video, I think.
No, you know what it was? Right after that video, they basically hot fixed recoil where they were like, okay, we'll just bring it down. And then it was the next wipe where they like completely redid it. I remember that. Yeah.
So I have the video following that was where actually it was 2 videos. Okay, so maybe you're right. So February first was when I did the Tarkov has totally changed.
Yeah.
And I think that was where I was like, the game feels a lot better, I think. And then like a month before is when I was like, Tarkov is feeling better.
Yeah.
After Tarkov turning around, it's starting to feel better. So I think that was after the small changes, and then they made the big changes. Yeah,
but it's just truly mind blowing to me that they would continue to mess with it when it's in the best state it's ever been, and when so many other things are in the worst state or as bad as they've ever been. And then that they would show such a horrendous explanation for what they're doing, and then try to be like, dude, it's fine. So I don't know. It's not in the game. It's on ETS. I haven't booted up the ETS. I haven't even booted up freaking Tarkov in a week. So I don't know. Once again, maybe they're cooking. Maybe they showed us. Maybe they got the wrong MP4 and what they're cooking up is going to be dope. I don't know. I doubt it. But that is literally all the Tarkov news. I have been loving Delta Force, bro. Holy moly. It's been so much fun.
Yeah.
It's been
like really though, like honestly.
But like honestly, dude, I had another one.
You can tell me off stream.
Dude, I had another one today. And he was so. You
can't tell. You can't tell now if it's. See, it's Poe's law, dude. It's Poe's law.
Yeah.
You can't tell now if these people are a parody or not. Because we've talked about it sufficiently that a really clever troll knows exactly what to say to seem like they're far gone.
True. You're right. But he was going, well, here's the thing. Here's normally how I know that they're being serious is if I don't take the bait and they can't let it go. Like they message and then I read his message and I like joked about it, whatever. And then I just kind of like moved on, and like out of the corner of the eye, you read another message and another, and I'm not responding to them at this point. And at that point, normally it's not a 100% accurate tell, but normally it's like, this guy is messed up in the head. Like, I don't know what he's doing, but he was he was like, and
I got to gaslight you while he gaslights you and say, that's exactly what a troll, like if they came here and they're like, I just want to fuck with Jesse today.
Yeah.
I'm just going to fucking fake it and lie or whatever. That's exactly what they do, because they came in, didn't get a reaction, so of course they're going to try again, because they have no other goal other than to fuck
I don't
around.
know. Maybe we just live in a world where like I heard Northern Lion say something in a video where like he was memeing on a guy, and then somebody in chat was like, don't read his messages, you're just giving them what they want, which we've talked about before is almost just as frustrating as a response. Those are the well-meaning people. They're like, don't feed the trolls. And he said something, he responded to that message so quick. He was like, you're living in the past, man. He was like, that's not how it is anymore. It can be both things. They can feel like they're winning the troll and it's genuinely content for us. And that is kind of when today was kind of how that felt, where like, I genuinely thought everything this guy was saying was funny. Like, I was not mad. I wasn't tilted. I genuinely thought it was funny. Like, maybe it's just because of how many times we've dissected it. And so because I think it's funny, every once in a while I'd poke back at him or whatever. And it's like, maybe he was getting what he wanted out of that, but he wasn't taking it from me, because I was also kind of getting what I wanted out of it. I thought that shit was hilarious.
See, the people saying that, like, you're just feeding the trolls, don't give them what they want. They have gone full circle and are now completely missing the thread, right? Because the reason why trolls are bad is when they get under your skin and upset you.
Yeah.
I don't care if someone wants attention and they get attention.
Yeah.
Doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
If they are getting attention and bothering me, the problem is that they're bothering me.
That's true, because at the highest level view, somebody wants attention and getting it. That isn't inherently bad, because that's what all chatters are doing. When you type a joke into chat, like you kind of want me to read it, and then we all laugh about it, and then
that's what I'm doing full time. I'm getting attention.
Exactly.
From people.
And then you are the chatter that was like, everybody, ats you and is like, LOL. It's like, you wanted that attention and you got it. And so like at a high level view, that's not a bad thing. It's like when you said, when the person is taking from the experience, whether it's through bothering you or bothering other people in chat or starting arguments or whatever, and they're getting the attention, that's when it's bad. But if someone's literally out of their mind and we can just like read the messages and laugh about it, like I don't think that's a net negative on the stream.
So that's why it's really frustrating when the well-meaning person says you're just giving them what they want, because it's like now they have gotten what they want because they've turned a chatter against me.
Yes. That
and you gave them what they wanted by saying that,
dude.
If you just let me sit there and make fun of them and we all laugh at how crazy and out of touch they are, then I don't care how they feel.
Dude, that happened the other day. Oh my God, I forgot. I forgot to tell you this. This happened like last week. Somebody came in to chat and was like, as a woman, I feel like really unsafe in your community because I feel like I'm constantly getting mansplained to. Okay? But you know how on Twitch, if it's the first thing they've ever said, it says first time chatter. It said first time chatter. So I immediately hit him with my brother in Christ, that's the first thing you've ever said in my chat. I don't believe you. Their next message, damn, I got to work on my baits better. So he one message later, fully admitted to, I was literally just coming in here trying to bait rage. I laughed at it because I was like, you suck at it. And
you just embarrassed the guy.
And then 4 messages later, what started popping up was like, woke, wow, keep that shit out of chat. And I was like, no, chat. No. It was like delayed release. Chat took the bait. I was like, no, stop. He already admitted it. Stop. I felt like it was like I almost nailed the perfect chat interaction where I just like pummeled this guy and embarrassed him. And then at this delayed response, people were like calling. I was like, no, you're ruining this for me. It was so crazy. They were taking it so late. And I was like, no, please stop. It was crazy.
Yeah, like if you're one of those well-meaning people, once again, how many times have I said the right response on the internet? Okay. Everybody take notes. I'm going to get like 3 of you listening are going to change your behavior. And like 90% of you are going to be like, you don't need the advice because you're normal humans. And then the rest of you are too far gone. Okay. But so like 3 people are going to take this to heart. Before you type the thing, take a step back and wonder, how could I be wrong? How could this be interpreted in a different way? Yeah. How could this be? And then either adjust what you were going to write with that in mind, or do what I end up doing 98% of the time. And I just don't end up typing
Control A, delete. Yep.
So it's like, before you jump in and try to like white knight for Jesse or for me to say, don't take the bait, you're just giving them what they want, blah, blah, blah. It's like, the problem isn't giving them attention. The problem is when historically giving shitty people attention is frustrating.
Yes.
That's the problem.
Yes.
Yeah, but instead they correlate it with something else and think that's the problem.
But let me make the call on if this is a net positive or a net negative to the stream. Because if it's a net positive, we can all enjoy it and revel in it for whatever it is.
Sometimes it's cathartic to be able to interact with a troll and to not get upset and to not let them win.
It is very cathartic,
Now, here's the thing. They can think they won.
Yeah.
And I don't care. It's the same as the crazy person who's like, oh, yeah, of course I know the earth isn't flat. You and your NASA shill and blah, blah, blah. It's like, I don't let them win by joking around that I fucking work for NASA or by not believing. Like, right? I only lose when I get baited into getting upset and then needing to like think that they can be saved. And
why should I care if they interpret that interaction as a win for them? Because those people interpret the world to be flat. So like them interpreting this chat message wrong is like the most mild, thing in their brain right now. So it's like the same thing. It's like that person walked away and maybe he thought he won that. But why do I care? Because he thinks I'm genuinely just like on the Delta Force payroll. They're undeniably Chinese spyware. He asked why I was playing the game and I told him because I get commission off of when your data is sold. And he did not like that, bro. And so I don't care if he thinks he won. he's already like so far gone that who cares?
But see, here's the thing too: is that person, first of all, they're assuming that the person is a troll.
Yeah,
they could be wrong about that. They might be an idiot. They might be autistic. they might be 15.
Yeah,
they might be socially awkward. They might have 91 IQ. Like, there's a million reasons why.
Yeah,
and you can't know, so don't pretend to know. And even if you did know,
yeah,
you also can't know what they're hoping to get out of the interaction.
Yeah.
It's just so much projection.
That's true.
It could be that when they make a comment and they know that you don't respond, if you respond to everyone else and you don't respond to them, they could be like,
yeah,
that's
actually
like
very true. That's actually so true.
So it's going to invent what their goal is.
Yeah.
Then it could be anything. So just stop fucking trying
to
invent it. That is
so true, because definitely some people who don't get their messages read, that is the most frustrating thing to them. So yeah, so you can't inherently say that engaging with them is them winning, because ignoring them would almost set some people off even more. Yeah.
My chat tends to be smaller, slower, more chill, with a lot of like mature adult lurkers. Okay. Yeah. So it's like, if there's one message every 45 seconds, I read I can't not.
Yeah.
I read every message when I had 100,000 fucking viewers.
Yeah.
Like, and I still was reading. I wasn't necessarily responding, but I was following 90% of it.
Yeah.
So like,
yeah. Anyways,
so that it's harder actually when it's slow, because then everyone knows. It's the elephant in the room. Yes. Everyone knows. It's like someone comes into the Starbucks and they're like, "I'm gonna say a crazy thing," and it's like,
yes,
we can all pretend like nothing happened, but we all know something.
But it's
happened.
Mad weird. Yes, exactly. It's the difference between somebody coming into a Starbucks and yelling some ding dong shit, or somebody like standing at like a packed football stadium and somebody saying ding dong shit. It's like, it's just so different when like people who have like 2,000 viewers and chat's just flying. It's like they gain some power back. They get to steer the ship in a much different way. Whereas when there's 100 viewers or 200 viewers, chat's like in this weird control, because you can't, like, if you say something crazy, it's not just gone. So yeah. Anyways, all of that was a funny diatribe. It was so funny. I can't remember if we talked about it last week on the podcast or if we were talking about it on the Patreon episode, but that's just been a really common thing. You get the wombo combo of the kernel level anti-cheat is Chinese spyware, and everybody is being paid to play this game and not disclosing it. And then I read that comment where it was like, it just like, imagine like not caring, if your viewers, it was just so crazy. And so when the wombo combo of those things together has just brought out some real like unhinged chat messages. And I just want to know like how much they think I'm on the take for, because the most I've ever done a sponsored stream for was 2 hours. And maybe there were like 1 or 2 games that I did a 2-hour sponsored stream for twice. Like, I don't know what they think I'm getting paid. I think I'm at like hour 60 of Delta Force since the launch. Like,
dude,
I must be getting that bag, bro.
If you got paid the same rates that like I see, like when it comes to sponsors, I'm like nobody, especially streaming. And I remember, like, I don't remember what game it was.
Yeah.
I've only done, I don't know, maybe 3 sponsor streams before. So like you can go back and figure out what game it was. But it's like, we're talking like $600 an hour kind of thing, which is like, brother.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'll whose dick do I have to suck to get
I'm on hour 60, bro.
I'll play Delta Force for fucking $36,000 or whatever it is you're getting paid.
Exactly. So
I have a price.
That would be epic. Now, all that being said, I have been having a blast with Delta Force, and there's some interesting mechanics to it. But before we hop in, I do want to take a quick second and thank the third and final sponsor for this week's episode, and that is Chubbies. Once again, Chubbies, you know them, you love them for their shorts and their bottom wear. Phenomenal stuff. classics, a staple for summer wear. But it ain't just summer wear anymore, okay? Is that the flannel?
This is the flannel.
Oh my God.
I just got.
It looks comfortable from here through the screen.
Brother, I just got. I went on a Cyber Monday sale, and this wasn't free stuff. This was me being like, I need more of this.
The best endorsement gear of all time.
It's so comfortable. It's not only is it warm and soft, it's also stretchy. And I don't understand the technology. I don't understand how they can have a flannel that is giga stretchy, but thick, but soft, but light.
Yeah.
And then I got these bad boys, dog.
Oh,
these,
like the everyday pant or whatever they're called.
Literal like khakis. And these also stretchy. Brother, look at this.
Yeah.
Look at this.
Oh, yeah,
dog.
baby.
It's just so comfortable. But also, I could put on some nice brown shoes, have a tuck in the shirt, right? Like, it's God tier. And I got these bad boys that are like straight up blue jean.
Like material?
It's not denim material. It's the same kind of material, but it's basically the color of like a nice pair of dark jeans. All I want to wear is like Chubbies basically everywhere.
That's amazing. Yeah, dude. Once again, it's cold outside and you can get some phenomenal outerwear. They also have like pajamas, onesies, and they have I'm not a big sports guy, but if you're a sports guy, they've got a whole like NFL collection of a bunch of their stuff. You can get a bunch of shirts and shorts in like these crazy cool NFL designs, and you can pick between a bunch of different teams. So that's kind of just like a out of left field cool thing that they're doing right now. And then once again, their flannel is, like you said, literal perfect balance of like heavy and light, thick and thin, stretchy and structured. They're in a solid place. So
left field, like football.
Wouldn't that be a baseball out of left field?
Yeah, that's why it was funny.
Oh, okay, sure. I don't know. I was genuinely asking. I'm so sports literate. Anyways, you can check out their website for the best deals of the year. For a limited time, our friends at Chubbies are giving our listeners 20% off with the promo code POGCAST20. Check out at chubbyshorts.com. That's 20% off your order with promo code POGCAST20. Support our show and tell them we sent you this holiday season. Gift yourselves and your loved ones Chubbies. Dude, for a second, I was like, oh my God, that's where that came from. But then I was like, wait, I don't know what sport is what kind of field. And now I don't know.
Yeah, it's sports ball.
Sports ball. Anyway, so Delta Force. So I definitely have some concerns, kind of similar to PoE. I love the game, really vibing with it. There are some things where I'm like, oof, I don't know. But I've narrowed it down to, because I've been asked, right? You know how like you're asked the same thing 11,000 times, and over the course you kind of refine your answer where you're like, oh, like this is the best description I've found. Delta Force, the operations mode, the extraction shooter mode, feels like conceptually at a high level view, it's Tarkov. You take loot, you infill into a map, PvP, PvE, loot stuff, find rare loot, extract, you kill a guy, you take their stuff, you die, boom. So conceptually, Tarkov. The moment-to-moment combat feels like a battle royale. Much more like a battle royale, like a PUBG, an Apex Legends, or like something like that, where you're trading.
Interesting.
Yeah. And it took a while for that to click in my brain, and it's why it feels so foreign to me, because those games are played extremely differently. And it's why.
No, sorry, continue.
Well, no, I was just gonna say, and it's why like it's been super fun playing with Ham, because I'm learning a lot from him, because he's a PUBG guy that like last year got really into Tarkov, and then we've been playing a lot of Tarkov, but he's got 10,000 hours in PUBG. He's a battle royale connoisseur, and I was like, and it finally clicked. I was like, that is why this game feels so familiar but so different, and why I feel like I suck. And because you flex completely different muscles, you use completely different skills in a situation like that. So,
yeah, I'm thinking back to like all my highlight stuff from PUBG way like the early days of my YouTube channel. And I'm just thinking about how it's like, you know, you see a kind of pair of dudes running and it's like snipe, you know, miss, you know, snipe or miss, take out a gun, shoot him down.
Yeah.
You're down one guy. The other guy comes behind the tree. The dude crawls over, and it's
Yep.
like in Tarkov, it's dead, dead.
Yes.
It's like,
yes.
And it sucks for everyone.
And all the different factors that you're thinking as a battle royale guy. How far am I away? Can I close distance? Is he going to get the res? If you're playing with a buddy, do I need to res this person? What's going to happen? Like this concept of like whittling down their resources. Like you might, in a battle royale, I see people take shots at distances really far away, even though they know they can't win that fight, because they can have them use like wear down their armor or use their 3 big med kits. And then by the time they get close, they're in a better position. None of that stuff I'm thinking about in Tarkov. It's just easy picks, rotates, spray people down. You know what I mean? It's the fights are so final, so one and done. And then there's so much utility, and I don't even necessarily mean utility as in abilities. I mean that as well. But like, for example, I have been frustrated at my teammates many times, and I'm having to come to the realization that it is actually my responsibility. The amount of times because shit gets chaotic, there's lots of sounds because there's lots of abilities and there's lots of people shooting. The amount of times I didn't realize my teammate was dead. And so then I made a play, and it's like, look down in the bottom left. All your teammates' health is right there. You know what I mean? Like there are certain situations where they don't want to add to the noise pollution. Ham is so used to, glancing at that and making that a part of my situational awareness in this game is very low because I'm only thinking
no kill feed in Tarkov.
Exactly. I'm only we were talking about this earlier. The amount of times he's pulled random ass information out of his butt, and I'm like, how do you know? And he was like, that was on the kill feed 8 minutes ago. And I'm like, yo, you're playing a different game. So there's kill feed where you can get information like, is this the guy I killed? Because that was the name. Oh no, this guy had a different weapon because, it shows the weapon that they used. There's your teammate status. And so there are certain situations where they don't want to add to the noise. And I'm like, I didn't know you were dead. And he was just like, look like right there. But in Tarkov, if we're playing duo and I die, it's on me to tell you that because you can't know that. You know what I mean? Yep. The mini map, like there's just so many things I'm not used to using. And then having like functional smokes or utility or the ultimate abilities, which once again, we've talked before in the beta where I thought the ultimate, I always thought that the like operators and the abilities, I thought I was going to hate that. And I ended up loving it. I ended up thinking it was like a fresh thing for an extraction shooter, not. And so like, so in some ways, this is going to sound crazy, but you'll know what I mean. In some ways, playing this feels like playing Tarkov in 2018. And just in the ways that the highs are really high and the lows are really low. When me, Ham, and Gino, or me, Ham, and Alf, or me, Ham, and Degeki are like flowing and we're like trading shots, using abilities, healing each other, popping reses at perfect times and pushing at other times, I feel like they're bringing me into a whole new world and I'm like addicted to that feeling. And then when we're playing poorly or when I feel like I played that situation really well, but someone on the team didn't and that drugged the whole team down, or when I feel like I'm the weak link, which has been happening a lot because I don't play a lot of games like this, that feeling is low. I like die in 6-7 raids in a row and I feel like I just can't catch up to how fast they're thinking. But it's tickled something in my brain where like I built my channel. I built my entire Twitch channel and my entire YouTube channel on I suck and I want to get better. I was new to FPS. I was new to PC games. Extraction shooters were brutal.
But then you got good.
Yeah, but 100%. Exactly. But like one of my most watched series on my YouTube channel is Beyond the Grave, where it was an entire video series about like, I died. This is where I messed up. This is how I messed up. This is what I should have done differently. And so, yeah, I got good enough at Tarkov to kind of just like read chat and kill people all day. Even if I die all day, I've got 100 million rubles, so who cares? So this tickles that 2018, 2019 Tarkov part of my brain where I'm learning, where every single fight, I wish I could just time machine, go back and play that exact fight again. Because no, I made this one mistake. And the stakes seem so high because you can play the numbers game a lot. Like if I fuck up and I die, Ham and Degeki are 2v3 now, and if they're fighting a competent squad, even though they're really good, that can be really hard to do. So like I feel like the stakes are higher because I'm pulling the whole team down, but it's fun, dude. The moment-to-moment combat feels like a battle royale, but then all of the other little dopamine hits of like finding the LEDX, you know, finding the really rare item, or, you know, getting out with a bunch of loot or a bunch of money, feel like an extraction shooter. And so it's been really fun.
What are the meds and the healing like in that game? So like with PUBG, you basically there was like a med pack and like a bandage. And the med pack was like, you know, almost your full health.
Yep.
The bandage was like much smaller, right? So it was usually like you hit someone with a sniper shot to the body. It was like, boom, they use their med kit. Boom, they use their med kit. Boom, they use their med kit. Now they only have bandages. So now it's like you could, if you hit them, boom, you can run in with a pistol and you'll win the fight,
because
right?
they can't heal fast. So the med situation is interesting, and I feel like there's some level of it that does need to be adjusted, but they kind of went the Tarkov approach to an extent. Well, it's important to know it's a unified health pool. You have 100 health, whether you get hit in the legs, the arms, or whatever. Now, when you get hit in the legs, bullets do less damage. So I think I've told you before, the damage a gun does is fixed to the gun. So an M4 does 23 damage, no matter what you do to it. The pen value is what changes when you change ammos. So purple ammo is better than, you know, blue ammo, gold ammo is better than purple ammo, and it's just adjusting the pen. And then there's modifiers to that damage. So it does 22 to the thorax, 56 to the head, 16 to the leg. But it's a unified health pool. So when you get shot, the way the meds work is all of the heals are just ultimately injectors. Like they don't all look like injectors, but you're using a med kit and you're just like, and it just heals you most of the time all the way up if you have enough juice left in the heal. But there are like fractures. Like you can break your legs, you can break your arms, and then you can get bleeds as well. Now, if you wanted to play with only a med kit and a surgery kit, you could. You can fix everything. You can fix a bleed with a med kit. You can fix regular, just I need HP with a med kit. You can fix fractures with surge, or you can fix like full breaks with a surge.
Basically.
Yes. But if you wanted to bring more things, a tourniquet fixes bleeds much faster, 2 seconds as opposed to 7 seconds for this. If you wanted to bring painkillers, painkillers just negate all the negative effects of any broken limbs. They get used in 3 seconds as opposed to a surge kit in 8 seconds. So if you want to like stack a bunch of meds, you can, and play the game where you're healing faster. Or if you're like, that's too complicated, you can just bring med kit, surge kit, boom.
Yeah, it's like, do you want a grizzly or do you want an IFAC plus hemo plus
Now the thing is though, what makes it a little kind of like AIDS is the way, and this is the biggest criticism of the game I've heard across the board from everybody, is that the time to kill and how quickly an armor can get damaged. What's really cool about this is that you can bring armor repair kits and helmet repair kits into raids, and you can repair your armor while in a fight. Now, the thing is you can never, if your armor has 100 durability and it gets shot down to 7 now, you can never repair it to 100. You repair it to 94 and then 82. And so, like, you can come in with a brand new 100 durability armor, and when you leave, it's at like 57 durability, because every time
Which would never happen.
Exactly.
Ever happen.
Every time you take a shot, your armor is borderline trash. And so that one extra layer makes healing in this game kind of freaking AIDS, because every time you trade damage, you have to heal, you have to surge your arm, you have to plate your vest, you have to plate your helmet. He's doing the same thing. You re-peek, you shoot each other, and then the whole thing happens again. Or you just die in 0.2 seconds. The time to kill is very fast, and it's very... basically, the way it works is like, if you have purple ammo, purple armor and below effectively don't exist.
Right. Yeah, I remember talking about
If you
this.
have blue ammo, purple armor will take a few extra rounds than the blue armor would have. Now, technically, if you have purple ammo, the time to kill is, I think, 1 additional shot against purple armor. They made a very small adjustment, but it's not enough. Effectively, it's like, and so the meta just becomes invest in ammo and armor doesn't exist.
Yeah.
If everyone,
when
like,
people are shooting 995, like, you know, maybe, I don't know what the ballistics are now, but back in the day, it was like, it's going to pen and do 98% damage up to level 6. So
exactly.
Like wearing no armor is just
exactly
better.
It feels like that where, so yeah, that's a great way to put it. It feels like the, yeah, that's almost like a good Tarkov way to put it. Let's take like 545 ammo. There's like PS, PP, BT, and BS. If those were respectively 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 pen, then it would be like, oh, well, I have the 50 pen. He's got class 5 armor. It pens like 98% of the time. But in Tarkov, they had the forethought to, it's not. It's 25, 32. So there's always like, you know what I mean? Most of the time, it's not a 100% guarantee to pen, and the, you know, the really good ammo is more expensive. And then in Tarkov, you have all this stuff of like, if I take a leg shot, I can just pain kill and push because, you know, whatever. If I take an arm shot or whatever, armors right now, you can plate swap and stuff like that. Like I can put my other plate in the front. So it's, the time to kill is very, very fast because of the unified health and because armor gets chunked very quickly. And so that is something that has been really frustrating, is that, like, I watched a video the other day. I think it's the Beard guys. I want to shout them out because they're a cool channel. They were testing, like, because I've told you about how sick their firing range is, where literally, like, you can do whatever you want. They were testing time to kill because they wanted to make a video on, like, the top 5 fastest time to kill guns in the game. And they were getting time to kill.
Was this not Tarkov? This was.
No, in Delta Force, in the firing
Delta Force,
range.
okay.
Yeah, because in the firing range on the dummies, you can put any armor you want. And in the firing range, you can put any ammo you want in your gun. So you can just like build it. So they were like, what are the 5 fastest time to kill guns? And the fastest time to kill was like 0.2 seconds against some of the best armors in the game. So it's just like jiggle peek, dead.
And I wonder if you have like, it would be 0.2 seconds against the best armor and what, 0.1899999 against no armor?
Yeah, 0.195, because once again, the best ammo in the game essentially means there is no armor.
Yeah.
So the time to kill is kind of the same. You know what I
Damage
mean?
reduction is probably like almost
almost
next
nothing.
to nothing.
And then they threw in, they were like, and just to see what's funny, this is the slowest time to kill gun in the game. And it was 0.7 seconds time to kill. So it's like that delta is not enough between the best gun in the game and the worst gun in the game. You know what I mean? It's like, it just, any regular peek or running across a clearing or whatever is just, you're dead.
Yeah, but here's the question. The problem isn't necessarily the delta, because
correct.
It's that the range, it's not that the range is like this. It's that the range is here rather than here.
Yes. Yeah.
I liked that in like COD 4.
Yeah.
Every gun pretty much had the same time to kill, sort of, right? Like you either had stopping power versus Juggernaut,
or you're right.
And then the thing had, you know, it went bop, 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 but every bullet did a lot of damage, or it went and every bullet did not a lot of damage, right? But overall, like in general, and I actually like, I would love to know the science behind the COD 4 guns now, like years later.
Yeah. That would be interesting.
But I assume they all felt like pretty balanced, like pretty similar.
Yeah.
And that's when things are good.
Yes.
In my opinion, because like the way you play with a Barrett is different than when you play with an M16, which is different than an MP5, but yet you're equally as deadly, just in different situations, and depending on your skill. So it's cool that like that everything is viable and you kind of can play whatever you want. It just sucks that it's like you have no time versus no time versus no time.
If the best time to kill to the worst time to kill was the difference between like 1.5 and 2.0 seconds, you know, it's only a half a second difference, but it's like, oh, that's cool. I can be effective with everything. But if the difference is 0.2 seconds and 0.5 seconds, it's just, you can be that effective with everything. You know what I mean? It's like
it's the equivalent of one-shot mechanics in a game like fucking PoE. It's like, I don't want to walk into a thing and get one-tapped.
Now, once again, this is one of those things where I totally understand it. People have heard me moan about the time to kill an incredible amount for two reasons. A, I die in a lot of raids in exactly 1 second. And B, because a lot of people are coming in and asking what my opinion of the game is. Or they're being like, hey, is the time to kill fast? So I know that it can very easily appear that I think it sucks. I think the whole system is busted and they need to like drastically reduce it. I definitely think they should increase the time to kill, but I think they should be very careful about it. I'd rather them make a small adjustment that's not enough than go too far. And here's why. Rezzing. If the time to kill crosses too much and the team can res, you'll
end up killing someone 17 times and it'll take forever to kill them. It just
gets awful. So because you can res from the down but not out state and you can res from the full down state once, in a game like that, the time to kill has to adjust to that gameplay style and it has to be a little quicker because just because you died doesn't mean you died immediately. That was why everybody hated the armor when the armpit hitbox and the neck hitbox were really bad when they very first changed it, because everything is final in Tarkov. I couldn't be like, oh, that's scav, what the hell, res me, and then keep playing my raid. I was done. So it was to be clear, I do think that the time to kill in this game needs to be on average quicker because there's always teams of 3 and you've got the res mechanic. But here's where I'm at, and me and Ham have been talking about this a lot. I don't even have an opinion on exactly how long it should be. It doesn't need to be X amount longer or needs to be like this game. My thing with games, when I feel really good about giving criticism, is when the game tells me the sky is blue and then the game tells me the sky is green. I feel super confident going, hey, something's fucked up. Because it's not me asserting something should be a way, it's the game is telling me two things. Only one can be true. You guys figure out if in this game you want the sky to be blue or green.
Yeah.
And so what we have is the res system, all that kind of stuff. But then we have 48 different armors. There's 12 in each category. Every gun has 6 ammos attached to it. And then, so I'm like, okay, well, if we're going to have gold armor and red armor and all these different purple armors that cover different parts of the body, you have to make using them worth it, right? Like I use purple armor and gold armor when I find them, get them as quest rewards, or take them off other players. When I'm building a kit, I'm buying blue armor because I'm assuming my enemy has purple ammo. So why the hell would I buy purple armor? And gold armor is $600,000.
Yeah.
I can't afford it. So that's where I'm at. It's like, and me and Ham were talking where like you could go, I would actually be fine with either one of these. They could go the more arcadey route where like they remove all the different ammo, like all the different ammos, and now each gun only has one ammo type. And then they just balance each of those against blue, against purple, against red. Or they could go the Tarkov way and actually get more granular and, make it so that, okay, well, against this, there's this damage coefficient in this pen and, purple against purple now it takes this many shots, purple against blue, goes right through. I'm down with either, but right now you have both. You have a time to kill of 0.2 seconds. And then when I say buy armor, you show me 87 different options. So it's like, that's where I'm like, okay, you guys kind of figure out what system you want. I get why they did what they did because they obviously wanted the kind of battle royale style combat and they obviously wanted to appeal to like the Tarkov crowd, but they kind of got to figure out which one they want to do. So
the red touches yellow, kill a fellow. Red touches black.
Oh yeah. For the snakes,
when you said purple against blue goes right through. It just made me think. Like they're gonna make a bunch of arbitrary rules, and the way to fucking remember it is like the Redditor thing is gonna be like, these are the 5 sayings you need to know.
Yeah, do purple against blue always through. That's so funny.
Shit. And so like. There's obviously a lot of things that they can do, and there's no like right answer. It all ultimately comes down to like the way it feels for most people, right? one of the things that like just came to mind thinking like game design as opposed to super myopic one-dimensional, like, you know, make bullet do more damage, make armor block more things, is like they could also think about what else can armor give you, or could bullets give you, you know. So like maybe the bullets that pen less, it's more like and again, I'm not saying that I would advocate for any of these, but these are just ideas, right? These are the things you put on the whiteboard and sticky notes and whatever, and then like cross out. But like it could have a lot more camera recoil because it hits harder. But it doesn't necessarily, like, it doesn't pen, but it like knocks you down. Or the armor could like slow you down, but you know, like your movement speed, right? If it's higher tier, so there's like plus and minus to some of these things, right? So there's just
I get what you're saying. Like,
can do.
What else can we do other than just pure damage? You know what I mean?
Like one of the things you were saying is like, you know, the good armor, like no one's going to use it because everyone just has the ammo that ignores it. So now in the example I gave is the wrong direction, because you don't want to like nerf the good armor, because you want to incentivize people to want to wear
to
armor
go for it.
So, you know, in that case, maybe it mitigates you know, again, like how much you get like shaken up when you get hit. That only matters if the time to kill is more than a nanosecond, right? But those are just things that they should consider, and that the player base should consider before they start going, just make it the time to kill less, add the bullet damage, get rid of the this. It's like,
dude, I hadn't thought about this before, but while you were talking, dude, they should, so this, like, if they wanted to keep the system with the amount of ammos and the amount of armors in the game, you know why it feels, I never put this together. You know why it feels like it sucks? Okay, if you have like M61, right? And I've got a TV rig tier 4. If you hit me in the chest, I'm almost dead because it does like 79 damage to my thorax, but my armor is not that chunked down. But if you hit me with PP 4 times, I took no damage to my thorax, but my armor is halved. So that could be a mechanic where it's like, if it's blue bullets versus purple ammo, the armor durability goes down pretty quick. But if it's purple versus purple and you don't shoot enough to kill me, my armor isn't that chunked down, because that's...
So it'll last you much longer.
Yes, because that's the thing. Gold armors are not worth buying because gold repair kits are very expensive, and you can only repair a gold armor like 2 times. And if you get hit by anything, that gold armor is like half durability. If you trade fights and you're like...
the gold the best?
The best armor. Technically there's red, but red's like 1,000,000 rubles. Nobody uses red. So gold is the best. So that's another reason, in addition to it not feeling like it protecting me, in addition to that, the gold armor isn't worth it because it gets destroyed so fast, and it is an enormous amount of financial investment to repair it. And then a scav shoots you, or like a Timmy shoots you with a shotgun, and it's back to 20%, and an enormous investment to bring it back up. And then the third time you repair it, it's 50 durability, and you brought it in at 100, and it costs 600K. So it's like, if they did something like that where the high pen rounds go right through and damage you, but if you win that fight, you don't have to sit there and repair your armor a bajillion times. And then the ones that don't pen, chunk down your armor. I don't know. That could be that. Maybe that would be a bad idea, because maybe the meta would be like, bring shitty ammo and just like evaporate people's armor. But something, you know, there needs to be something. And I know that, like, it's so funny because time to kill is such an interesting thing, because it cuts both ways, if that makes sense. Where, like, I've had an example is, I did a video, my top 3 biggest concerns for Delta Force. One of them was the time to kill. And while the vast majority of the comments were like, oh my God, thank you for saying that. Please, please, God. I've had a few people be like, I love the time to kill. Time to kill needs to be low. It's the only way I can 1v3. And that is true to an extent, right? Like that was one thing that killed the Cycle Frontier for me. The time to kill was so long, it was impossible to clutch. Impossible to clutch.
You need to be able to kill a 3-man with one magazine if you place bullets.
Yeah. But the thing is it cuts both ways. When the time to kill is super short, you can't reasonably kill 3 people because the minute that team hears bullets, they all turn and fire at you. And as long as one of them hits you, you're dead. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, last night you hit a clip where you killed 3 people because the time to kill was low. But every other raid that day, you were solo and you came up against a team that was playing even remotely like together. It's almost impossible for you to win because the time to kill is so short. So it goes both ways when you go, it's super short, and it goes both ways super long, right? That's why I was saying it goes both ways. The longer the time to kill is, the easier it is for you as a solo to escape a situation and live, but the harder it is for you to 1v3. The lower the time to kill, the easier it is for you to 1v3, but it's impossible for you to not fight if you don't want to fight. Impossible.
Yep.
Because you're just dead. So I understand it's a balance.
OG PUBG had it perfect.
Yeah, I missed it,
dude.
Dude.
All I did, dude, is I would go into the 4-stack lobbies solo, and I get chicken dinners, dog.
Yeah.
I could, because it was enough that like I could peek, right? And I could kill like 1 or 2 guys with a magazine. The third would turn, hit me with a couple of bullets. I fall back. I survive. I heal. The one guy goes to get his one friend. I peek, thirst one guy. The other guy starts firing on me. I take some damage. I go back and heal. He gets the other guy up. I peek out, kill 2 of them. You know, I get hit by the 4th one. I heal. I pop out, kill the last one. It was like fucking like 90 seconds of like pure adrenaline.
Yeah.
I was the better player. I won. I was able to tank a few shots. I was able to hit enough shots on multiple people before they could hit enough on me.
Yeah.
Dude, it was so good.
Yeah.
Whatever, like someone needs to go and study the time to kill in PUBG. And like, I'm literally like fucking want to pull up some old clips. If you go to my channel and you go to videos and then go to oldest, you'll see fucking PUBG Battlegrounds highlights 7 years ago.
Yes, bro.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11. Like old school shit before I was even streaming.
That's so good.
And it's just the fucking glory days.
Yeah. And
the recoil was so good too.
And that is once again one of the reasons why I feel pretty confident. So very similar. This is actually, it's so funny how similar this conversation is. One of the reasons I'm confident that I am right about the time to kill is because the BR guys that are coming to Delta Force are like, holy shit, why is the time to kill so low? Same with PoE, where it was like, okay, well, I'm an outsider to this kind of combat, but this is how it feels to me. And then you get the people who are like, I'm not an outsider to this kind of combat. This feels this way. And then I'm like, okay, you know what I mean? I'm not saying X Battle Royale has it right or wrong. I know Apex Legends has like a really long time to kill, but that's kind of because they want it to be like the movement skill based. You know, they really wanted it to be, it's too long in that.
That was from, there's not enough cocaine in this side of Colombia for me to fucking hang with the cracked out kids.
I played with Desmond one time and I was like, I've never played a video game in my life. That's what it felt like. So, but like a lot of the BR guys are like, man, I can't do anything. I can't make a play.
I'm literally looking at the first clip I found. I'm just sitting in a house with a scar and a guy runs into PUBG and I'm going to hit the stopwatch right when I start firing. And then when he dies, 1.5 seconds.
Yeah.
And it was like dead.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can kill 2 guys. And that wasn't headshot. That was kind of like a sort of a panic spray kind of from the hip. So it'd probably be a little bit faster, you know, if I were to hit some headshots. But like 1.5 seconds. What did you say it was like 0.2?
0.2. And those are body shots, by the way.
And to 0.8.
Yeah.
That's that's getting one shot.
Yes.
in a fucking ARPG.
The most broken gun in the game right now is the Glock. The Glock 8, there's a Glock 18C full auto, 1,200 rounds per minute. You get purple ammo for it, and it's effectively getting one shot. It's just the burst damage is insane.
Is the recoil crazy?
Not at all. It's a beam. It's broken. Damage fall off starts at 18 meters, so it's like you really can't beam far, but close quarters. That was the two other things I was going to say was, one, the thing about PUBG and Time to Kill as well is engagement distance. In extraction shooters, a lot of extraction shooters, because these are instance maps, and this is no different, the engagement distance is often very close. Whereas in PUBG, you can fights can last a lot longer because an engagement distance is medium most of the time, and then it closes in on close. Obviously, right off the rip, a lot of times on hot drops, you're it's all close range. But then as you're seeing people around, and the second thing I was going to say, dude, I was going to say it and then I lost it, and then you reminded me of it and then I lost it again. What were you just saying? PUBG? Oh, yes. Another thing is, I do think headshot time to kill should almost not be adjusted at all in Delta Force. That's a core experience of, because there are headshot multipliers for how much damage is done, and a core extraction shooter experience isn't getting one tapped in the head, but a core extraction shooter experience is to always be afraid that you could die at any moment.
Yeah, so you're just not sitting there standing in front of a window AFK.
Because that's the thing in Apex is a good squad is not worried about just oh my God, I'm dead. What happened? They know, especially when they're playing pubs, that they can make a play. But in Tarkov, you can get one shot. The meta helmets still to this day are ULACs that don't cover your face. An AI scav can kill you. A player scav can kill you. And so I think the time to kill in Delta Force needs to increase, but I think we need to retain that fear of death. And that's something me and Ham said so many times, where it's dude, I just got 4-shot body shot thorax in a nanosecond and I'm dead, and I've got some of the best armor in the game. That sucks. If that guy hit 2 or 3 consecutive headshots on me, GG's. You're a god, bro. But the fact that when the meta is don't aim for the head, that's rough. You know what I mean? Because it's the headshot time to kill is almost no different than the body shot time to kill, and it's so much easier to hit body shots. So that's the other caveat with time to kill should increase. We should retain that fear of death. You know what I mean? Especially since the reses are there, and that helps retain, even with a slightly longer time to kill, a soloable 1v3. You just have to play it right. You got to hit those headies, boom, boom, boom. You know what I mean? So that was the other thing.
Bro, I've never had a better, I know some Battlefield games people really were enjoyed sniping, but there was no better in all of my gaming experience, no better sniping than OG PUBG as well, with the Car 98.
Yeah.
And there was a Car 98. It wasn't the fucking M21. It wasn't a semi-auto.
Lapua Magnum.
You could just line up the headshot and bah, and it's unscoped, bah, and it was
yeah.
The first headshot is boom, they're down, and then oh god, it was just so good, dude. It was so good. I don't know why no game. There's a video that keeps showing up in my YouTube recommendations that's why it's a sniper rifle, and it's why snipers are so hated, or a challenging design thing for. I keep meaning to watch that
video actually.
Yeah.
Anyways, so Delta Force, however, very fun. I genuinely think it has a potential to be a long, it's the first time. You might agree and disagree. That's fine. That's fine. If you hate this game, that's fine. If you like Arena Breakout better, that's fine. If you only want to play Tarkov for the rest of your life and suck Nikita's dick, that's fine. I think this is the only extraction shooter I've ever played that's not Tarkov, that it's I could see myself playing this 2 years from now. I'm not done Tarkov. I'm not going to quit Tarkov. I'm actually more excited for the wife because I've been taking a break from Tarkov. But this has a lot of potential. They could squander it, but I think it has a lot of potential. It's been fun. It's been mad fun. So the only other gaming related thing is, did you see Fortnite
Fortnite's an extraction shooter.
Not just that. Did you see Fortnite released like CS:GO in Fortnite? A search and destroy first person. It's the only first person Fortnite experience ever. Yes. And it's
you know what? Here's the thing. It's probably goofy looking and whatever, but it's probably good.
dude, so here's the thing. Obviously, you don't get your gamer card until you think Fortnite's for children. And you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah.
So the response has been pretty visceral from the people that don't already play a lot of Fortnite. And I haven't watched a lot of it, and I don't play Counter-Strike or Valorant, so I don't know. But it was just so interesting to see them move into that field. Tim the Tatman, Dr. Lupo, Ninja, Cypher, Courage, they were all playing it like all day yesterday. So they released that, and then they announced that they're doing an extraction shooter as well. So this goes with a lot of the conversations we've been having recently about like one IP just becoming the everything. You know, COD did multiplayer and campaign and battle royale, and they tried extraction shooter with DMZ. Fortnite's got their VR, and then they have their Unreal Engine like workshop thing where you could do all these different experiences. Now they're coming after CS:GO, and now they're coming after extraction shooters. So it's like,
oh, it actually does like look good. It looks like Valorant, honestly.
It does look a lot like Valorant. I don't think there are like
the pistol looks cool, dude. What the fuck? This isn't like goofy at all looking.
Yeah, I don't think there's like hero abilities like Valorant. I think it looks like Valorant and plays like CS:GO. There's an economy. There's a buy phase. It's straight up Counter-Strike.
That's so fucking funny, dude. It's probably going to be like objectively good, and it's going to
break the internet as a result of that.
Yeah, because you're going to have all of the. Here's the funny thing too: is like the Zoomers are now going to be like, they're going to start feeling old because they're going to be like, haha, Fortnite is for kids, blah blah blah, and then they're going to like try to play it. They're going to get fucking completely owned by the like Gen fucking 0 or Alpha, what the hell they are. And yeah, get ready, kids. You're about to fucking start getting your first grays, getting owned by John Wick in Fortnite.
Yep. So I find that to be fascinating, slightly dystopian, but slightly exciting at the same time. We talked about that a lot on chat recently, where it's like, how many times have we said before, man, Tarkov, like the world of Tarkov would make such a cool BR. The world of Tarkov would make such a cool like DayZ open world experience. I think it's natural to have a game you like and then be like, but what if I got this, but in this type of game? And what if I got this in this type of game? So I think it's like exciting when games do other game modes, but then I can't get over the feeling of like quadrillion dollar company just like making one game in every slot and dominating because you already have $700,000 worth of skins, which means you're never going to try any new game because you can just play this and all the games are in the game. Like I can't decide where I land in between those two things, you know?
The guns like look like that. Looks like a SCAR. That looks like a fucking AK. Like it's not the pump shotgun. That's a Vector.
Yep.
UMP. Like these look. It's not goofy looking.
No, the guns
like, characters are like, this guy's John Wick. This guy's a robot. This girl is like an
Peter
anime
Griffin.
character or whatever. But like smoke grenade, flashbang. I bet they fucking actually work.
Yep.
Rifles, shotgun. Yeah, I mean, yeah, dude. It just like it actually looks. Everything's like olive, like drab green, or like desert tan or black. Like it looks mature. And it looks like solid. The fucking, oh my god, the optics, like the dots on these, like look really good. The recoil looks laser beamy in the way that I want in a game like that.
Yeah.
You know, like you don't want crazy recoil. You either want set patterns like the AK and CS:GO where you can like memorize it, or you want like no recoil, and have it just be an aim duel between two people who can put their cursor on the other person faster, right?
Interesting,
man,
right? Interesting.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. So they're making big moves,
I might try that. There's no building, right?
No.
Thank Christ, because I don't want to build a Walmart in the middle of my fucking CS:GO match.
They made a couple of maps bespoke for this, and
dude, I might be more into this than fucking Valorant even, because like if even Valorant, it got to the point where I haven't played in a while. So now I don't know. The Spider-Man has the ability to teleport but footsteps behind me, and then he makes a clone of himself.
Yeah.
And then curveball's a flashman. Like that's like, all right, there's too much I've missed.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like Magic the Gathering. I have to learn 19 new characters and practice and get good. And this is just like more pure.
As someone who's played a lot of CSGO and played a lot of Valorant, I would be very interested in your opinion on it. Because I've played zero of either, and every time I pull up a tab of somebody playing it, chat just like erupts in like, Fortnite. And I'm just like, oh my God, dude, freaking chill.
Interesting. And I wonder, is Fortnite free to play?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God. Oh, yeah. I'll probably play it at least once.
Dude, get in there with the default skin and just style on them, bro.
I'm gonna instantly drop $600 on skins for the one day I play.
Yeah,
and
it's like freaking. I mean, I'm sure there are live service games that have been around for longer, but like at this point, it's like 7-8 years of new skins in the shop every couple of weeks. Like it is. There's more skins in Fortnite than there are grains of sand on the seashore, man. Holy moly. Anyway, so yeah, maybe check that out.
Yeah, this is super random. Real quick, I want to ask because I just saw a video and it was kind of mind blowing. And the answer is going to be no. I know it's going to be no. So this is all going to kind of be moot. But did you ever see the movie Passengers?
No, but I know it's the one with the girl and the guy, Chris Pratt, and the Hunger Games girl, Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah.
Yep.
Damn it. Okay. I watched a video. It was like a video essay on if they told like it was, I forget exactly what it was called. It was something along the lines of like Passengers, but out of order.
Okay.
So the whole plot of the movie, right, is, do you know anything about it?
Yeah, they're zipping around.
They're on the ship that's supposed to be your like hypersleep for like 150 fucking years or whatever, right? Something malfunctions and he wakes up like 9 years in, and it's like, oh, he's just going to be alone on a ship for 100 something years. He goes through all the fucking like stages of grief, and then sees her, this beautiful woman, decides to wake her up, but doesn't tell her that.
Yep.
Basically plays it off like it was a malfunction. They fall in love. Everything's good. She finds out, blah, 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 all this stuff, Then there's the tension. And then there's like, oh, the ship is going to explode. He's going to sacrifice himself. But she saves him. So that's like his redemption, happy ending, right?
Yeah.
Well, this basically says if you told that from her, because it's entirely from his perspective.
Yeah.
There's like, 45 minutes of him like playing basketball alone and like eating all the food and just like chilling alone and kind of going crazy. It gives you enough time to really be like, yeah, what he's like, him doing this terrible thing is like totally reasonable.
Yeah.
I would go crazy too. But telling the story from her perspective, imagine like you wake up and there's a guy, and what's the craziest thing, dude, is that all of these scenes without any context, it's like a horror movie.
Oh yeah.
Chris Pratt straight up, because he's like a little awkward and sort of scared, he doesn't want to like, say anything. It makes him seem like
a psycho.
Like Jack Nicholson from The Shining, dude.
Yeah.
Like he's just like standing there saying weird things. So you're like trying to figure out like, is this guy crazy? Is he like a murderer? Like should she trust him? Then the relationship builds, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden there's this moment of, oh my God, the betrayal where you figure it out the same time she does. Watch the movie. It's fantastic. And that's the shit that I love, where it just reminded me just now, actually, of like the movie was fine.
Yeah.
It was like, I'd watch it again. Totally fine movie.
Yeah.
It's one of those, like, it was a C+.
Yeah. But the re-edit.
But the re-edit would have been like actually incredible.
Yeah.
It could have ended. And what the alternate ending that he basically said was, imagine if he sacrificed himself for her, it actually happened. She's like alone or whatever. And then she's alone for 10, 15 years. And then it would end with like her looking at someone in a pod like pondering, and it just ends, and it's like, oh my god,
that
like,
would,
full
yeah,
circle.
yeah.
That's basically, I just thought of this now, and I'm gonna make some enemies in the last 10 seconds of the podcast. But I was just thinking, like, that's what I'm thinking when I think of what Stalker could have been with like the right changes. It could have been like this incredible thing, but everybody's like, the movie's incredible, dude. The movie's great. And it's like, yeah, the movie's okay, but it's not The Shining, right? Like, stop acting like it's Interstellar when it's just Avengers 2. You know, like, it could have been this amazing thing if they just thought about it, put some, whatever. Anyway.
I love it. Well, that is the stuff. That is the stuff, dude. Good talk. I'm glad to hear PoE is crushing it. I'm having a blast. It's good to be having fun playing video games again.
Playing other video games is the unstated premise of what you said with the asterisk. That would have been the fine print. It's good playing video games. It would have been asterisk. What we mean by video games is other video games other than Escape from Tarkov that our communities are enjoying watching, that are like healthy and not toxic.
Yep. So that is it. If you would like even more podcast content, you can go to patreon.com/thepodcastpod, where we post these episodes early and ad free, and you can get an additional episode every single week. We've been doing some
react.
Yeah, some like reacting to some music and stuff like that. So lots of cool stuff over there. Thank you again to Chubbies, MeUndies, and Factor for sponsoring this episode. You guys are the best. Thank you for support, and we will definitely see y'all on the next one.
Wear your seatbelt.